Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. We are from class KMB4 and this is our group presentation for the subject Ethics and Corporate Governance. The title of our presentation is Failure of Auditor in Serba Dinamik Berhad, which focus on the ethical and corporate governance issue arising from the case. So let us begin. This presentation is prepared by five group members. Me, myself is Muhammad Shafiq bin Yusran and joining me is Muhammad Fitri bin Faizul, Ahmad Qayyum bin Muhammad Ayub, Quran binti Halmi, and Nur Farisha binti Ghazali. So let us begin with the presentation. Before we move into the ethical analysis, it is important to briefly understand the background of the Serba Dinamik case. Serba Dinamik Holdings Berhad was once regarded as a leading energy and engineering company in Malaysia, with strong global expansion and investor confidence. However, in May 2021, concerns emerged when its external auditor KPMG raised several statutory audit matters during a routine audit. These concerns involve approximately 4.54 billion ringgit in financial transactions, including sales, suppliers, and trade receivables, and it couldn't be properly verified. In auditing, such issues are serious because auditors are responsible for ensuring that financial information is reliable and also transparent. What made this case particularly significant was the company's response. Instead of cooperating with the auditor to resolve this concern, Cyber Management initiated legal action towards the KPMG. So these decisions led to the resignation of the auditor and independent directors, and eventually it's prompted regulatory interventions by the Security Commissions of Malaysia. From an ethics and corporate governance perspective, this case reflects a failure to uphold fundamentals such as integrity, objectivity, and professional conduct. So, with this background in mind, the next section will discuss the key ethical issues involved in this case.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Qayyum bin Muhammad Ayub and my metric number is 12206 and 36. And today, I'm going to briefly define and frame the key issues in the Serba Dinamik case. The first case issue about the related to the audit reliability. During the audit for the financial year ending 31st December 2020, KPMG identified several serious red flags, including unverified sales, doubtful trade receivables, suspicious supply information, and contract documentation errors. These issues involve an amount exceeding 3 billion ringgit Malaysia, and as a result, the auditor was unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, and this raised a serious concern about the reliability of Serba Dinamik's financial statements. And the second issue concerned about the corporate governance and management. Instead of allowing the further independent investigation, the board challenged the auditor's findings and decided to replace KPMG. This action raised a concern about the transparency, possible management interference, and a weakness in governance were further highlighted by problems within the audit committee and the resignation of several independent directors. Overall, these issues can be grouped into a two-dimension: audit responsibility and corporate governance. The case shows how unresolved audit issues and a weak governance can quickly erode investor trust, trigger regulatory scrutiny, and cause a significant reputational and financial damage. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, now let's move on to the major causes of the issue by referring to the MIA bylaw. The first major causes is because of lack of integrity in addressing audit issues based on section 110 regarding integrity. By referring to the MIA bylaw, professional accountants are required to be straightforward, honest and transparent in all professional relationship. That is what define integrity. So based on this Serba Dinamik case, Serba Dynamic management dispute audit findings instead of substantiating them with adequate evidence. They also initiate legal proceedings rather than addressing audit concerns which raise doubt about the trustfulness and completeness of financial information provided to the auditors. Second major cases of the issue is when the management fail to ensure proper documentation and audit evidence based on section 112 objectivity and 113 professional competence and UK. These impair auditors' ability to perform their duties ethically and competently. So, in the case of Serba Dynamics, auditors were reportedly unable to verify large balances of receivable and contract values of Serba Dynamics. This inability to obtain sufficient evidence resulted in auditors declining to express an opinion. And lastly, failure to effectively manage and eliminate intimidation threat to independence as required under MIA bylaw Conceptual Framework Section 120. According to the section, professional accountant must identify, evaluate, and address threats to compliance with fundamental principle. So, in this case, the management legal actions against the external auditor, which is KPMG, for negligence and breach of duty, created an intimidation threat to them. So, this intimidation compromised their ability to exercise independent and professional judgment, which is a constance of audit quality.
So now I will briefly explain the major impact of ethical and audit issues using the Serba Dinamik case based on the MIA bylaw on professional ethics. So firstly is the case caused a serious loss of public trust and investor confidence. The MIA bylaw require accountants to act with integrity and professional behavior. However, unresolved audit issues involving large transactions raise doubt about the reliability of Serba Dynamics financial statement, which is this led to a sharp fall in share price and shows how ethical failures can quickly damage market confidence. Secondly, the case highlights threat to auditor objectivity and independence. MIA bylaw require auditors to remain independent at all times. In this case, management challenged the audit findings and attempted to replace the auditor, creating intimidation threats. The auditor's decisions to escalate the issues shows the importance of protecting public interest over client pressure. Thirdly, there was an increased risk of material misstatement. Professional accountants must exercise due care and competence. Difficulties in verifying customers and contracts indicate that the financial statements may not have fairly represented the company's true financial position, increasing the risk of misleading information. So finally, the case resulted in regulatory action and weak corporate governance. Investigation by Bursa Malaysia and the resignation of independent director show how ethical failures can lead to enforcement action and governance breakdown. In conclusion, the Serba Dinamik case demonstrates that failure to comply with MIA bylaw can lead to a loss of trust, compromise audit quality, regulatory action, and governance failure. This highlights the critical role of ethical conduct in maintaining confidence in financial reporting. So now, I will pass to the next presenter.
Next, strategies to overcome the issue. One major issue in the case is the pressure and intimidation faced by auditors. To prevent this, auditors must be protected so they can perform their work with integrity, objectivity, and professional skepticism as required by the MIA bylaw. Audits community should serve as independent link between management and auditors, addressing audit concerns constructively. Companies should also increase transparency and disclosing any legal actions taken against auditors during an audit to avoid influencing audit judgment. Next, corporate governance must be strengthened through stronger audit community oversight and better board accountability. Audit committees should consist only independent directors with strong financial expertise and clear mandate to review audit issues thoroughly. Board must be prioritize transparency instead of protecting the company's image, supported by governance and ethics training to help directors respond properly to audit findings. Lastly, investor confidence can be restored through stronger ethics and stricter regulatory enforcement. Companies should improve their processes for reporting material audit issues and enhance whistleblowing channels for reporting irregularities, encouraging ethical behavior aligned with MIA bylaws, and ensuring regular, strictly enforced reporting standards will help protect the public interest and rebuild trust in Malaysian capital market. So, the lesson learned, the Serba Dinamik case shows why ethics, good governance, and auditor independence are essential for reliable financial reporting. Stakeholder trust collapses quickly when management ignore core values like integrity and transparency, choosing to protect the company's image instead of addressing valid audit issues. This led to misleading information and regulatory intervention, proving that honesty must be the basis of all reporting. The case also highlights the importance of strong audit community and independent auditors. Serba Dinamic's lawsuit against KPMG created an intimidation threat, while the resignation of independent directors exposed weaknesses in the company's governance structure. This shows that audit committee must remain independent and free from interference. Finally, the consequence extended to the whole market. Investor confidence dropped, share price fell, and regulators had to intervene. This reinforces the importance of professional skepticism, proper documentation, and compliance with MIA bylaws. Overall, this case reminds us that ethical conduct and strong governance are vital to protect public interest and maintain market integrity. Thank you.
In conclusions, the Serba Dynamic scandals shows how weak corporate governance can turn a routine audit into a major corporate crisis. Management choice of litigations and intimidation instead of transparency and cooperations clearly violated ethical principles like integrity and professional behavior under the MIA bylaw. This case also highlights the importance of auditor independence in protecting public interests and maintaining investor confidence. Strengthening ethical practices and protecting auditors and whistleblowers are essentials for a resilient and trustworthy market. That's all from us. Thank you for watching our presentation.